最前面哦，那个哦，就大部分都是这样连起来，应该。
Yeah, right. 对，就在这么大。
看了，把妈妈一
Davon ist eins.
Ay.
Es azul.
热做吗？
Mom, we're trying to catch the bus here.
my god.
Wow. What should I say? What should I say?
Die packs die ID.
We shall be saved only in Christ alone. Christ alone is the way to heaven. There is no other way. The Lord is calling you to repent. You have not given yourself to Jesus Christ. Think about your day that you're going to die. Think about the Father one day after the other. Think about the Father one day you're going to die, you're going to give account of yourself. Surrender to Jesus Christ. Believe in the name of Jesus Christ and you shall be saved. There is no salvation in anyone, only in Jesus Christ. Go to the cross. That is the only hope of eternity. Only the cross. You have hope in Jesus. There is no religion that can save you. Remember to believe in religion. The only Savior of the world. The only
Yeah, good you?
Good, thank you.
Alright, I'll see you later.
This is the bridge here. Next to the London Eye. There is fish and chips. Either see the bridge here, turn left.
The little one and then the girl.
Rio. No, in Berlin it's very depends on what district you're in. I guess Kreuzberger.
Perdu. Donc là, on va boire un coup.
Forgive me.